truth was buried in the desert. In 1947, something crashed in the desolate plains outside of Roswell, New Mexico, and the world was never the same. That summer, for the first time, the entire planet was forced to confront a terrifying question. Are we truly alone? 1947 will always be remembered as the year the whole planet began to analyze the idea, are we alone in the universe? For the local people that lived in Roswell, New Mexico during this time, great confusion plagued the city. The Roswell Daily Record published its now famous front-page headline about the UFO crash on Tuesday, July 8, 1947. The article stated that the Roswell Army Airfield had recovered a flying saucer on a ranch near Roswell. The debris was found by a rancher on the Foster Ranch and turned over to the military. It mentioned the military was transporting the disc. The very next day, July 9, 1947, the U.S. military issued a retraction, claiming the object was actually a weather balloon. The spirit in America at the time was at an all-time high. With World War II ending in 1945, only 2 years ago, everyone loved America and believed in their country. To question the retraction of any newspaper at the time would be unpatriotic. In 1950, 3 years after the UFO crash, a nuclear physicist became interested in interviewing people who had UFO encounters. He had a background of working on nuclear aircraft, reactors, and fusion rockets, including classified military programs. He started collecting and analyzing declassified government documents, eyewitness accounts, and conducting field investigations. He was the first to interview the intelligence officer back in 1947 that held the Roswell crash debris. The officer claimed that in 1947, the Roswell crash involved a non-human craft. The officer never spoke about Roswell, but in the comfort of this nuclear physicist connected to the government, the truth came out. The dark truth of an extraterrestrial cover-up. He was the one that said it was not from this earth. I'm quite sure of it, because I was familiar with just about all materials used in aircraft and air travel. This was nothing like that. The military told him to go along with the weather balloon explanation to avoid public panic and security risks. He said what was displayed to the press wasn't the real debris. They wanted some comments made to the public, and the one thing I was told to do was keep my mouth shut. The balloon part was part of a story to satisfy the curiosity of the press. After the intelligence officer broke his silence in 1978, others started to talk, including his son. The officer's son went public, stating his father brought home crash debris in the middle of the night, waking the family up to view strange material. The material had writing on it that he wasn't familiar of, almost like geometric patterns or hieroglyphics. It was uncuttable. You couldn't crease it. You couldn't make a mark on it. The son coming out and talking about the Roswell crash gave comfort to a bunch of others that were connected to the incident, including the son of the rancher that found the debris. He as well said, you couldn't cut it, you couldn't burn it, you couldn't break it. He believed the material was not a weather balloon or any aircraft. He said I had a few pieces I kept in a cigar box. I didn't think it was anything until the military came back looking for pieces. He said his father was pressured to remain quiet. He never talked to anyone about it. Because of these new interviews, public interest rose again, and the Roswell Museum was built. The first person to initiate the idea and take steps to start the museum was the public information officer at the Roswell Army Airfield in 1947. He was the one who issued the famous July 8, 1947 press release stating the military had recovered a flying disc. He knew we could not forget about Roswell. He wanted to create a place to preserve records, testimonies, and evidence related to the crash. The Roswell story was back in the minds of the general public. The nuclear physicist that was conducting these original interviews got a strange call one day from a man who claimed to be involved. He contacted the physicist after seeing televised reports and renewed interest in the Roswell crash. He claimed he had long remained silent due to fear and pressure, but felt the time was right to speak out. He claimed to have had direct encounters with the evidence related to the crash. As a young man, he worked for a local funeral home, and one day in early July, he received a call from the Roswell Army Airfield requesting small sealed caskets. That same day, he also received calls from men asking about techniques to slow down deceased bodies from decomposing. Working at the funeral home, he made many routine trips to the Army Airfield Hospital. On July 7th, before the Roswell press release was published, he delivered a slightly injured airman to the hospital base. He saw wreckage being transported through the hospital in containers. He noticed the police presence escorting people and a lot of commotion, which was abnormal for the hospital base. After being spotted lingering the hospital halls, military police escorted him out. An officer told him, "If you go telling anybody about this, they'll be picking your bones out of the sand." While being kicked out, he saw a nurse that he was casually social with outside of the hospital on the grass in great distress. Later, the nurse confided with him that she had witnessed an autopsy of a non-human body. The body was small, gray-skinned, and a large head. Their features were not human, very thin limbs, and unusual facial characteristics. Shortly after their conversation, the woman disappeared. He tried to contact her later, but was told she died in a military plane crash. He believed she was silenced by the government due to what she had witnessed. After decades of family members that lived with these deep, dark stories of their loved ones that were involved in the Roswell incident, a girl came out and lifted the veil to what happened to her famous grandfather, the sheriff of Roswell, in 1947. She came forward in the 1990s and shared what her family had said to her about the crash. The granddaughter of the great sheriff of Roswell during the time sat with her heartbroken grandmother, and her grandmother opened up and told her the truth. The grandmother started off by asking her granddaughter if she believed in life outside of Earth. She then went into great detail, saying that her grandfather went to the UFO crash site and saw alien bodies. The military threatened the family, telling them to never speak of what they saw, or it would be the end of all of them. The entire family wiped off the face of this earth. They chased your grandfather for weeks, telling him, if he tells anybody what he knows, that will be the end of all of his loved ones. The truth about Roswell doesn't rest in government archives. It lives guarded by memories of children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. The wreckage may be gone, but the secret is not. It's buried in families. The truth of Roswell is buried there, in the family secrets. Until every secret is uncovered, we must keep asking questions, keep digging, and never stop investigating.